There may be valid reasons to vote for James Tallarico, but this ain't it. Watch this video clip and we'll talk about it.
Cast my vote for James Tallarico. It doesn't matter to me, white man versus black woman, whereas James Tallarico has a bit more of a softer tone, understandably.
Everything she said after she said softer tone is irrelevant. She could be the most informed person about politics in Texas, and no one should care, because what she did here is use a ploy that white women have been using for generations. And it is harmful because it reflects our internalized misogyny, but also racism. This is subtle, but it's toxic, and it shows this indoctrination that manifested in her words. This is the exact indoctrination that many of us received. We often don't believe we have it because we're talking to people who have been trained to hear that proverbial dog whistle. And what is that dog whistle? Softer tone equals less threatening equals more attractive to white people. So what exactly is a white woman saying when she says she prefers a white Christian man because of his softer tone and that makes him more appealing than a black woman? Well, that is a well-trained instinct inside white supremacy to treat whiteness as safety and blackness as a threat. Softer tone has always been code for what keeps me comfortable. And comfort is a currency white people have demanded at the expense of black women's credibility for generations. Jasmine Crockett is what accountability sounds like when it refuses to perform gratitude for being tolerated. Tone policing is how people dodge the actual message. So when facts are inconvenient, you critique the delivery. So when a black woman refuses to shrink, they'll use words like angry, unprofessional, aggressive, rude, combative, or as Professor Courtney said in her video, Jasmine had a firebrand. That script is old, my friends. The only thing that changes is the century. And in her video, Professor Courtney alludes to her training in American history. So let's talk about it. After the Civil War, the nation had a choice: protect the liberation of black people with force and law, or reconcile with the very people who built wealth on slavery. That led to Congress passing enforcement laws because white terror was organizing, and it was strategic and it was relentless. The white sheep men used violence to block black people from voting, from holding office, and from owning property. That is why the federal government created tools like the Enforcement Acts. But then the country made a unity choice, and that's the Compromise of 1877, which is widely recognized as the political deal that effectively ended Reconstruction. Federal troops were withdrawn, and the protection that black communities needed was completely abandoned. Once federal protection left, white supremacist rule resurged, and the rights of black people collapsed across the South. And who was responsible for Reconstruction becoming more about protecting the dignity of white Christian Southerners than liberating black people? The white Christian man. And who gets protected the most under this Christian patriarchal structure that is our government? The white Christian man. Now let's layer the Christian engine that's underneath all of this. Ministers literally published defenses of slavery and framed it as divinely sanctioned. They connected slavery to household order. Now that matters because it shows how easily Christian language can be used to sanctify the maintenance of white Christian patriarchy, not only in slavery, but in segregation, in voter suppression, and look what's happening in this country right now. So here we are today, where black people in leadership who refuse to perform deference to white Christian men is questioned as being too loud, and white Christian men attributes of softer tones seems to be appealing. She may deny saying it, but that is the undertone in this video. Every time a white woman uses this language, it's a reflection into the indoctrination into white supremacy. That is the vein that runs through American Christianity. It taught us to choose the white man's voice that feels familiar. Choose the man who sounds pastoral. Choose the one who will keep the peace, even if peace is built on someone else's silence. Now, let me be clear here. James Tallarico may be sincere. He may be talented. He may even be courageous in the way he critiques Christian nationalism. All of that is good. But this is bigger than James Tallarico. This is about a system that rewards white Christian men for sounding safe while punishing black women for sounding strong. So here's the question I want every white voter, especially white Christian and ex-Christian voters, to answer without flinching. When you say you want soft, who are you asking to suffer quietly so you can feel calm? And here's the question I want white women to answer, because this is where we love to hide. Are you calling Tallarico's softer tone appealing, which means you're calling a black woman too much because she actually is, or because you were trained to treat black clarity as danger? Jasmine's firebrand energy is not a personality flaw, and it is not a weakness. She has already proven that. Jasmine's brand is a refusal to negotiate with the very patterns that have crushed black women for centuries. So no, I'm not interested in the fantasy of the gentle white Christian man rescuing us from the mess white Christian patriarchy has gotten us into. They have been the catalyst that has caused our excruciatingly, painfully slow crawl to claw control of human rights that, if white Christian men were truly living their faith, they should willingly offer it and give it. Instead, they romanticize a unity that prioritizes white Christian men. And that's why I say, right now we need white Christian men to stay in their lane. And I wrote about it, and I meant it. Liberation is not going to come from the same social conditioning that upheld the cage of oppression. If your deciding factor is, I like how he talks, then you need to pause and sit with that, because your nervous system has been trained by whiteness. Mine was too, and I want voters to choose courage over comfort. Now, if you're a white woman watching this and you feel defensive, good. Defense is often the doorway to awareness. Let the discomfort do its holy work. And if you're tone policing black women while claiming you care about justice, you are protecting the very system you say you oppose. You need to deconstruct and decolonize your beliefs and ideology, because you are holding on to views that protect your privilege.